The Danish Constitution. The Danish Constitution was made and signed by the King in 1849. It gave every male citizen with a lot of money and a high age the right to vote. Very democratic. The Constitution has been changed several times, so today all Danish citizens can vote. The Constitution states several important things like the separation of power and civil rights. In Denmark, a party has to receive 2% or more of the votes to get seats in Parliament, so if you get 1%, then you will receive nothing.
The Danish Parliament is called the Folketing and means something like the people's place to gather. There are 179 seats in the Folketing, currently divided between 9 parties. Everything in the Folketing is decided by majority vote, except for matters concerning the Constitution. All votes are counted equally, but at the same time a very complicated and extremely smart algorithm makes sure that all of Denmark is represented. This means that 135 of the seats comes from all the small electoral counties, a bit like senators. Then 40 seats are distributed among the parties to make sure that every party get the same percentage of the mandates as they got of the votes. In other words, they equal out. In addition to that, 4 seats are given to Greenland and the Faroe Islands.
The original Danish constitution from 1849 states that the Folketing needs to consist of 2 chambers, but since they usually disagreed and therefore didn't get any work done, the 2 chambers were merged together in 1963 into the Folketing. This means that Denmark only have 1 legislative assembly, and therefore a lot of power is centered in the Folketing.
In Denmark, it is very rare that the government has the majority in the Folketing. Usually, several of the parties come together and form a government. Other parties stand outside of the government, but do still support it and have more or less influence on the government policies, since the government still need to have their support to pass on bills.
Denmark is a parliamentary monarchy. In a parliamentary system, the power to govern is in the head of government who, in Denmark, is usually also a member of the parliament and is called a prime minister. There are no separate laws in Denmark, but different counties can have their own differences in small rules, such as parking fines and the way you are supposed to sort your trash.
To balance the power of the Prime Minister and the government, the Folketing has different abilities to keep the government in check. One of the abilities of the Folketing is to have a vote of no confidence to the Prime Minister or any of the other members of his government, and if the majority of the Folketing votes against him, he gets sacked immediately. This ensures that the people's representatives still have the power and not the government.
The Danish political system strives to be as fair and as democratic as possible, by giving the people as much power as possible.